past weekend. Kent, did you talk to Santa and tell him what you wanted?
I was singing Christmas carols.
Okay.
Put up at the microphone,
Yeah.
and the young girls that were in to see Santa Claus and had to get, they belted out jingle bells, because that's what we were singing. And
Wow.
they didn't have a book or anything else, and it was kind of fun.
All right, on that note, Sue,
All right.
I don't know what that means.
all right, we're gonna go over the executive budget here, and
Yes.
McKinnon is here too.
So the executive budget, there's an increase of 15% overall, and it is all for salaries. A portion of it is the insurance increase, which was 14.7%. But overall, it's 15% more when you add in the extra Social Security and Medicare. And this includes the increased cost for the new position that we'll be hiring soon, I hope.
And retirement.
That person will get retired. I don't,
You,
yeah, retirement, yes, yeah. So, yeah. Any questions on that one?
on the first page.
Right. So then next is elections and the vitals budget. Next year, we do have 3 elections. So the stipends are up to $3,000. Let's see, town report, is this, I put in the same as last year. Catering, a little increase because of the 3 elections. This year, we have a new cost for ballots and machine programming. We will have our new voting machine. Last year we appropriated, or in 25, we appropriated the money for the new voting machine. We paid $4,000 and the state is giving us a $3,500 grant towards the purchase. And that should be arriving in January. So,
The money or the machine?
machine, I already sent my portion of the money and the states will send their portion of the money.
Okay, so we're waiting for the state reimbursement then.
I didn't have to pay it in full. I only had to pay the $4,000 portion and the state pays the company directly. Their name is Voting Works.
Okay.
And the cost is substantially a little cheaper. For the machine maintenance, it's only $1,000. So in the programming, there is a new law where we have to program a new tablet. We had it last year, but it's for people that might have some disabilities hearing or seeing. And it repeats all the names on the ballot. So that's a new law that requires us to have a new tablet, which we have to program every year, and that's $600 per ballot. So
Is that a tablet that's reserved specifically for, only for voting, or is it?
that's it. Yes. So I'm leaving the budget the same as last year. Last year included the cost of the voting machine, but so 13.5 on that one. And next is financial administration budget. I'm keeping that pretty much the same as last year, a little increase due to the audit. I put in $500 extra for the annual audit. This is the last year that we'll be able to use Plodzik and Sanderson, and then we'll have to put it out to bid. And everything else pretty much stayed the same. QuickBooks went up a little bit, but so only a $500 increase in that budget.
So in 26, we'll have to put it out to bid, or 27?
In 26, we'll put it out to bid for a 3 to 5 year period of time. And then the assessing, slight increase in this, not too much. It's because Rod Wood, our contractor, our assessor, his contract went up. He gave us a 5-year contract with a little bit of an increase every year. So the assessing software went up $100, $200. It's not too much. So 23,100 up. Oh, $2,500. Planning and the zoning, we're keeping that same this year. And these aren't perfect actual figures yet, because we still have one more payroll to go and we still have 3 weeks worth of payables. So these actuals aren't the best yet. I mean, they aren't really correct. Close. So planning and zoning, okay. And general government buildings. Also keeping this one the same. Let's see. What went down? The telephone, we appropriate 3,500, but we only spent, it'll be about 3,000. Electricity, we're in the range. So I just thought we should just keep it the same. Like we didn't overspend any of those lines except for the repairs and maintenance at 17,600. That was actually for the work done on this building. The grouting, and then what CPR construction did. That
That came out of the warrant article that we had for building maintenance.
that did not take out of.
That's what we want to do with it.
If you want to do that, then we need to get together the bills and we have to submit those to the trustees.
Let's get together with that on tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay?
Yeah.
Make a note. I'll make a note too.
okay. And this evening, we need to talk about the legal expendable.
AJ.
Because I talked to Steve Yevich about it. We'll go over that with you afterwards.
And second, please.
So you do want to take how much of that out of the,
We had a 3,000. What did you spend on the building this year? You had a 3,000 on the line item, right?
we had 2,500. I thought I put it up to 34 for this year, but let's see, what did we spend it? It's
Had all that furnace work.
cleaning, we had some furnace. Wait a minute, do we have furnace?
Yeah, because remember it was in a bunch.
Oh, yeah, Harry's Fuels. We did have Garrity heating. It looks like we didn't really have, that must have been the year before, last winter, Hobie. Unless it's appropriated in a different line item. Oh, no, we did. You're right. I see it now. 603 HVAC. We did have some furnace issues. But more set CPR. How much money do we have in that expendable trust fund? Do you recall?
You hadn't touched it. I think it was 20, isn't it?
Is it 20?
I think so.
So do you want to, are you thinking about taking just the portion that you paid to Morissette?
Morissette and CPR.
Right. All right, so I'll have that ready for next week. You have to vote to take that money out of the expendable trust fund, and we have to submit the invoices to the trustees to get the money.
Okay, I want to talk about that here after you're done, Sue, so we can save time, because I talked to Steve today and he's running up on a time issue.
Should we vote on it tonight?
Yeah, that's what.
Well, the thing is, you have to have, we'll go ahead and add those. If you add those up, you have to vote on the exact amount of the invoices. If you want to add those up while we're chit-chatting, we could do that.
Yeah.
What was, have you got it right there? Morissette,
1,925,
sorry, say again.
1,925. That was Morissette,
No, Morissette was over it.
and then, so we paid Morissette in two checks. So wait a minute, 11,225 is what we paid Morissette. And then 3,350 is what we paid Munch. So a total of 14,575 if you want to do that vote tonight afterwards. So what did you think about, are you okay with putting 3,400 in next year for maintenance? Or do you want to stick with the
Well, if-
25?
That basically is 15,000, so we'd have 5,000 in the reserve. That furnace we have down in this building is getting a little weak and a little.
Actually, the last person that cleaned it, Tim Garrity, said that thing is wonderful. He said those old furnaces are like dinosaurs.
Until they,
It's wonderful. The people we had working on it, I think, that didn't understand the issues. It was the 603 HVAC.
all right, we can address that. We'll figure
I
that.
think the furnace is in good shape.
I'm a little concerned about that because there was a number of issues. I'd hate to see us get jammed up again next year
Maybe add a
with
little.
unexpected.
Yeah, we can talk to Tim about it.
And how's the air conditioning doing, Sue?
The air conditioning, good. That air conditioner outside is fairly new.
What about the standby one that's out on the parking lot there? That hasn't been serviced in a number of years. Correct?
No, we service it every year faithfully.
You even use it?
No, that's a generator.
No?
Oh, that AC. No, we don't use that. We turn it on once a year. You did say you thought we should service it, but, so this is what it does. It generates AC
That is.
for our town office, but we don't need it.
Understand?
Don't use it.
What I'm getting at is we've got it in place. It's functional,
Right. Oh, I agree.
maintained. We do need it.
I can ask, Tim if he does that. I don't know. Have you talked to him, Wayne, about?
I mean, there's no point in having this piece of gear and just letting it go.
No, I agree, but we don't need, it doesn't do heat. It's not one of those
Oh,
mini
so-
that does heat.
AC.
All right, so we can think about getting that maintained. I'll put it in my notes. All right, insurance, yeah, up $10,000.
Mhm.
That's property and liability. That's the biggest increase. Workman's comp and unemployment. And then the next one is advertising and regional associations. This is for conferences and workshops and subscription. Our membership to NHMA, which we do use, so that's a good thing. Other general government. So I'm not really sure what you want to do with this line because the costs have not increased a lot, but now we no longer have town hall streams. So we had appropriated 3,000 for town hall streams. We spent 1,500, but we don't have any expenses now for streaming. I should ask Bill if there were any expenses. Maybe the teams, we had to get teams for this. I'm not sure, but I don't know of any expenses.
The website's gonna go up, but
I
that,
have that in here. The website is Muni Code. It's actually called Civic Plus now. I gotta change that.
yeah,
400.
yeah.
Yeah, so I have that in there, 4,400. This year was 2,100. So I did put in the increase, but still the proposed is much less. Oh, but wait, the noise, we won't have that next year. That's why, what the difference is. And the actual will probably be much more than the 4,100. I think you mentioned there was another bill for that needs to be paid. So, I mean, it's a $9,000 less than last year, but I don't know. It's up to the board what we,
Are you comfortable with that?
so it's the software contracts for tax collect and town.
I'm talking about on the other general government. You're good with what you've got in there?
I don't, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Just Microsoft Office streams or that. You don't know if there's a fee associated with what we're doing with that.
Yeah, I don't think there is a fee with that. We do have fees for emails, which will all be appropriated to the different departments. I did just get that bill, from CCS for the email, so that's about $8,000. Last year, 2025, we paid the bill in 24 because we had extra money. So I don't know if we'll do that again this year, if we'll just wait and pay it in 26.
Email, let's see.
The emails for each department, the Newfields NH.gov emails. So it's about, we all have different packages, the police and the town hall.
Yeah.
Those are different Microsoft packages that cost more, like mine was $1,600 and the police is 2,000 or 3,000, I think, 25.
5,000.
That maybe, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Then the small, like conservation commissions, $300, cemetery trustees is cheap. So, and that would be put in here, some of these. Cemetery emails will be appropriated to the cemetery budget, conservation, the same. But this is where we put all the town emails in this other general government. So that will go up a little bit. We can revisit that when we get more of the actuals.
When you go downstairs,
Yes,
can you pull those receipts for the town hall maintenance for the Morris at Work and the
sure.
munch, and then we'll have them in front of us so we can,
Yeah, and then you need to, so after we do that, we need to send them over to Steve, and he said he would get us a check. So I did put together the invoices for, Durban. Do you have that here?
do have it.
Okay, because the amount is not exactly, okay, and you have to adopt a vote to, okay,
Transfer.
all right.
And if you get those receipts for the maintenance.
Yeah.
And we'll use those. Wasn't there some other? That was just it. For some reason,
Well, so there's other line items that we need to look at, and I'm gonna start formulating that for next week, the budget. Like all the trash and recycling. I kind of wanted to wait till we had all the trash and recycling paid. We'll be short one payment, but we need to look at all those other line items. And I was hoping we could do that next week if,
that was the plan. Start.
yeah, and warrant articles, I'd like to get those kind of prepared.
Any questions, Kat?
Thank
Mark?
you.
I know.
Anything from the audience? No? Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
All right, no ex officio appointment this week. Moving on to, we'll hold off on the legal expendable trust fund transfer until we get the town hall maintenance trust fund transfer support documents. And then we'll do both of those with stone. Jumping on to the meeting minutes from November 18th, 2025. I had a couple of corrections that have been put in there. Has everybody had a chance to look at these? Mark?
No correction.
To me.
Okay. Corrections were entered. I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. HVAC for the library. We were asked to select and make our choice in support of which one we believe they should go. I would give great deference to the decision of the Board of Trustees. AirServe never responded to their request. They converted from gas to fuel oil. East Coast was kind of outrageous, and Key seemed to be the reasonable one. Comments?
Agreed.
Mark?
That's fine.
All right, I'll make a motion that the select board finds the proposal for the HVAC system for the library sent forth by Key to be the one we'll support.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is the next step for that to send it to the Friends for their consideration of any contribution or assistance?
I would give it to Win
And then,
and his for action.
great.
All right. Just one of the things I want to mention in general, when we rent the town hall or we allow a town or entity to use the town hall, we want to make sure, and we'll reference this at some point in the rental document for those who lease it, but for the folks that use it, make sure the trash cans are emptied, that the garbage in there. The other day, they weren't emptied and the ladies took it out, the bags leaked chocolate and liquid all over the floor and themselves. So we'll have the folks that are using the town hall, make sure it's cleaned up and then set up for the next event that's going to be in the town hall. Just to facilitate and ease it, because they're busy enough downstairs and they don't need to be doing all this other stuff. Mr. Barry.
Aye.
Thanks for having me back. It's just the other day. So based on our talk the other day and the information that I learned then and looked into in the last few days, still on track with trying to come up with something that might make sense for the property line, 67 Main Street and the town hall. And so the understanding that if we offer to buy, it's about 100 square feet, if we just put an offer in and say, we can buy this from the town, that itself would have to be voted on at some point. And I think that's March, right? Is that, okay, so at the end of vote. So with that in mind, and thank you for letting me know that, and considering some of all the factors, what we thought made the most sense, and as you can see, I don't have anything specific right now, but I think you'll understand what we really want to propose now, which would be to basically draft up a temporary easement. We'll take care of all of that, present it as something very specific to basically put a few months timeline on it prior to the town meeting or when the vote would take place. So it would allow us to work on two things. One would be, what happens until then, and then are we able to, put an offer out and that makes sense and can kind of cover all the bases. And so some of that involves just us doing our homework and making sure all the legal wording is correct and uses the board and all of that, and in particular with the temporary easement proposal. And so I'd be open to hearing now, I guess, in terms of what you think about that. And then when, obviously I'd have to turn around and bring it back and present that at the next meeting or at a meeting. And that's, again, that would take us out to whatever the easement, proposal timeline would be in lieu of the final, vote on the piece of land itself. So that's kind of where we're at after all of, thinking the last few days. And it would involve, again, if it does make sense, pleases the board, we'll go back, draft that, present it, and then maybe have something to work with on an actual vote. Does that make sense?
It does. That said, I had a discussion with town council today, and he was adamantly opposed to doing this. He is the position of town's council. It's not appropriate. It is town land. It should not be leased. It should not be sold. Taking it to be sold would require a warrant article and voting on it in the public. It sets bad precedents for town, and it's the opinion of town council not to move in that direction.
Okay, so the idea of offering to buy the land and a vote,
Yeah,
that doesn't.
no. And after speaking with him, I could not support that.
Okay, and then what it would be able to file for a temporary easement until we figure out, like
Well, temporary
again,
has to be on your property. You're looking for the easement, right? Not on somebody else's. You're looking for a right of way.
a right away, whatever the wording would be for, at least basically what we're looking for is something, as I mentioned last meeting, our intent is to have the work done on hardscaping and an extra parking spot in the spring. And, my request would be, could we at least have a 3-month easement where we'll present that, and it would essentially cover, and I think, the liability for the town, any sort of issues that we might have on this spot. We still don't even know exactly where that line is. We can figure it out. There's snow right there right now, and I'm happy to walk that property with anyone who wants to. But as of right now, it's coming out at an angle where a car covering it does have tires on town land and tires on our land. And so I totally get, again, not anyone's problem but ours at this point. What we want to try to do is work between now and, let's say, the spring to figure out, what to do with that spot. And I think that the easement suggestion at least would cover, again, some of the issues related to actually using it for now. Prior to this issue, the prior owners, again, it is our obligation to know the property line. But when the 2015, when that study was done, clearly the prior owners of the property weren't told, because that property was being used as essentially as it is right now when we moved in. Again, not your problem in that sense, but in terms of precedent and why we're using it. And if we look at where the bush is and where that angle goes to the far end of the fence, we've cleared out from the prior owners, we cleared out that entire area next to our fence. We did put crushed gravel and stone, and we've mulched that area. So again, we've taken care of it, and we understand that there's a line there that we've been taking care of town land, and now we're dealing with that. And so all we're asking for is a temporary easement to get to the spring. And then if it's, I came here prepared to talk about what it would be, what's involved in making an offer. It sounds like that's just been shot down. So if that's the case, then I'm back to, can we do anything between now and then? And if that's the case, if you're open to a temporary easement, I'll draft it up bring it in, and then maybe we can,
As far as the point, the previous owner, this summer when we were doing the work on the rain gardens and we're having to set boundaries and shoot points off of that, that's when we became aware of where that boundary point is, that 1 3/4 inch steel pipe that is about split underneath when your car is sitting on top of it. It's about dead center underneath your car.
Right.
And then when we became aware of it, that's when we started informing you that you were on town property. So if the previous entity of the town was not cognizant of the fact that there was a violation going on there, that in itself is basically irrelevant because now it's been discovered and we have a responsibility to look after and ensure that the town property line is maintained.
I understand that. I was under the impression that in 2015, the survey was done, and then that's when the town knew that the property was, that's what,
Can't speak that.
that's what was brought up in the last meeting.
Well, that's when
So-
the survey was done.
Okay,
And I wasn't on the board and I wasn't cognizant of it. But once we became aware of it as a town, it's our responsibility to enforce that property line.
understood. And so I'm back to a request of being able to drop something. I mean, we're talking about 3 months. That's it. And again, we're not, I think anyone would look at what we've done there. And again, we didn't know at the time. We assumed that the property line ended where that bush is because that's what the landscaping has been. And that's where all the way out to the fence line where the bushes that were taken out this summer had been. And so logically, it made sense that, we didn't think it was all of ours. We knew that there was a line somewhere, but it seemed that for a very long time, based on the landscaping, it was just logical to us that that's where the property line was. Turns out that's not the case. All we're asking right now is for just a temporary solution that, in my view, an easement would hold the town harmless for anything going on in that. We're not going to do anything except keep the car there for a few months. That's it. And again, we're talking about an area, not all the way to the corner, but essentially something that's probably, I walked it off. It's 5 by maybe 17 feet, something like that, in a shape of essentially a trapezoid. And anyway, so I hope you see that it's a reasonable request. We completely understand where the town is coming from. We're disappointed that we can't put an offer in. That would be a solution, but it sounds like, again, that's not even being considered. So I'm fine with that. I'm just asking. Yes.
I have a question. Did we send a letter, like a notice to quit or something like that with the deadline in it?
No.
I don't know where we're at in our process.
So where we were is we agreed, we had drafted that letter.
Yep.
And after you called me when I was in South Dakota and you were upset about the fact we were doing work on the town property and hadn't noticed you. So.
This was prior to the letter.
This summer.
Right. That was the.
And then I called you. And then before I mailed that letter that the board signed 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, I gave you a courtesy call to let you know the letter was coming. Then the letter arrived and that became a rather interesting discussion when I made my courtesy call. So that's the chronology.
Can you remind me the deadline in that letter?
We did not set a deadline. We told him within a week or so we'd be setting the post.
He's looking for a temporary easement just so he could park the car there for the winter.
Temporary, right away.
Okay, right away. And so what would happen thereafter? You'd have to move the car in another 3 months or so elsewhere, correct?
Pretty much.
The only question is, what about that pipe that was put in underneath? Is there, putting a car over that jeopardize that pipe for any reason?
No, it's flush with the ground. The point that was raised to me in the discussion with this was you have a 2-car garage, do you not?
We do, but it's not practical to put 2 cars in there. The way it's constructed is there's a center pole.
The
And
previous guy had 2 cars in there, the previous owner.
you can walk, the size of the cars we have, we can't. I've tried it. I really have. Trust me. I've tried to put 2 cars in there and we can't. We put 1 car in there and yes. So, in terms of practicality, that's a solution. But again, we can't get 2 cars in there. can get too small. I would give minis basically, but that's it. If you want to come by, I'll show you. So there's a pole sitting right in the middle that you have to park a car essentially at an angle in there to be able to fit it in there.
And why can't you park a car to the right now?
Well,
Well, the road.
what's that?
You've got two cars parked at the garage. Why can't you park a car parallel to the road to the right of the garage? Where you've got those two chairs sitting.
We are parking a car there. My son's car's there. So it is, it's right now. So we've had 4 cars and this is just a function of my son's home from college. We've got 3, Diane's 2 kids, Zion's son and Diane's. Yes, anyway, there's 3 parking cars there, 3 kids parking cars there. And then there's
A lot of cars.
a lot of cars. And again, one longer term solution is putting a parking spot on the other side, on Swampscott. And again, this is all kind of back to what we want to do with both the front of the yard and the side in terms of all the landscaping and hardscaping that we've been trying to get scheduled for the last 2 years. And we're going to do it in the spring. So we've got a contractor. He's ready to go with all of it in the spring.
I feel like the only options we have are looking at a deadline on the notice to quit to, if we were gonna look at something, but we also want to be thoughtful about liability. So that might be a question to whiz past Derek.
Well, Derek.
Yeah, he said
Derek
don't
was
do
opposed
anything.
not only
Yeah.
to the sale,
Yeah.
but he was,
To any use
he
at
was
all.
not.
Right.
He was
Yeah.
not thrilled with
Right.
the concept of using land in any
Right.
way, shape or form except as town property.
Right.
The only other thought is not to use any of that language saying easement, right of way, or anything like that. Just having a deadline to say your move out date, so to speak, will be on March 15th or whatever the case might be. And with some kind of language saying
Something like that.
you agree to hold harmless any incident, damage, this, that, and the other, that you would hold the town harmless.
I think that's reasonable.
And then this way, we're not jamming you in the middle of the winter, but at the same time, we're not tying
Agreeing
our,
to a long-term commitment of
Yeah.
any kind.
or putting any kind of legalese into a document other than you have to get out.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I appreciate that. And
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah,
Um,
I was just thinking of the,
I have real problems with this as precedent, setting a precedent for the town. As I referenced last meeting, the due diligence and responsibility was on you to know where your property was and not to be trespassing on the property of the butter, whether it's the town or anyone else. And I just, especially after speaking with council, I don't think that's the appropriate way to proceed. And I won't support any accommodation on this.
none whatsoever.
Let's ask the attorney one more time, and then we could get back to you.
Okay. Do you have a sense on what that means about no accommodation in terms of enforcement?
Say again?
Well, there is no timeline and there's actually very little in the letter that specifies certain things that needs to do.
it would be.
That was
I'm willing to work I'm really willing to work
I
here.
understand that.
And, we're at a point where again, this was not done deceptively. I can guarantee you that. At the same time, and, there was communication along the way. We're really trying to just work together. At this point, I'm just trying to process the fact that I can't even offer to buy the land. Fine. This feels that felt in my hands last week. It does not. That's fine. I'll live with that. Short of that, I'm just asking for, obviously I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm just asking for some accommodation. And if there's none whatsoever, well, then that's that. But, we're talking about 90 days, whatever the timeline you feel is appropriate. And whatever wording I would need to use in a document that does hold town harmless and releases everyone of all the liability, and puts shape around what we need to do, that's reasonable too. So,
I'll talk to Dirk. We're meeting again on the 16th and I'll let you know where it's at then.
okay, so, okay. Thank you.
Chief,
Yes,
you had things that you wanted to proceed with?
yeah, I know the agenda was light tonight, so I was gonna bring this before this. Actually, you guys have to get into the budget, so I have a couple of things tonight. I'm looking to transition our pistols over from the iron sights to the red dots. It's a new technology, not new. We're one of the only departments around here that do not have the red dots. The difference between the iron sights that we have now and red dots, obviously, won't require you to use the front sights and the rear sights of the pistol. It's quicker acquisition of the target with the red dot, low light, darkness, more accurate, more accuracy, longer distance. Basically, it's a totally different philosophy of shooting a pistol. So equipment is not, obviously, these firearms that we have now are compatible with the red dots, but it's going to require us to purchase the red dots, to purchase new holsters and stuff like that. So what we're looking to do is we do have that detail revenue account, which basically is money that comes in from the officers working details, that pays for cruises and anything that is detail nexus. And since we do wear our pistols on details, this fits criteria. So there's no taxation, there's nothing coming out of our budget. So what we're looking to do is, I have retail prices from SIG, who that's what we carry for manufacturing for our firearm. However, we also know that they give law enforcement discounts of anywhere between 25 and 50%. We're still trying to track down, just because of the holidays, of the route that covers our area. But I also want to lock in a price prior to 2026. These prices are going up 10, 15%, maybe even more on certain things. Part of this process is my firearms instructors are going to have to be certified as a red dot instructor. So those classes are not cheap. However, SIG told me they would comp 2 of our classes for 2 of our instructors in the spring. So we're not looking to go to this until the spring. And the reason I'm coming tonight is basically to get the approval to expend no more than $20,000, which will pay for not only the ammunition, which is going to require the officers, the 2 instructors to go to the red dot school. They're going to have to, it's a 2-day class. Each instructor is going to have to shoot approximately 1,000 rounds. And then that allows them to come back to the department and teach the rest of the officers of the new technology and qualify. And that's anywhere between 8 to 16 hours and anywhere between 500 and 1,000 rounds per officer. Obviously, some will pick it up quicker than others. It's a totally different technology. With the iron sights, obviously, you usually shoot with one eye, and you acquire your picture front sight and the rear sights. This technology is completely both eyes open. You know, we do have officers, our veteran department, who probably have never shot this other than, you know, a rifle with it, which is different than a pistol. So basically, I just asked permission tonight to expend upwards of 20. That would be the everything, all the equipment. That would be all the ammunition. The ammunition itself is probably between $4,000 and $5,000, which ammunition is not cheap. And like I said, the ammunition will probably be purchased prior to the first of the year, because that will go up as well. As long as we order the red dots and everything, we may not expend the rest of that until March. It depends on when that equipment comes in. But I do like to get it moving forward, just because it will save us some money in the long run. I sent an officer to a class of training maybe a month ago, 2 ago. And he was one of only 2 departments that did not have the red dots. I spoke to an instructor over at SIG who basically compared what we carry now to a smartphone in a flip phone. He goes, do you carry a flip phone? And I'm like, no, we do not. He goes, that's the difference between the iron sights and the new red dot. So
Wow.
that's basically, in my job is to make the recommendations. This, you know, there's no cons of, other than the price. And that's why we have that detailed revenue account to offset our budget and taxation, where this is not costing the taxpayers anything. This is the detailed revenue account that is paying for this equipment training.
Bottom line number again, Wayne?
I would say no more than 20. Like I said, I'm still waiting for the law enforcement discount price to come in. I have retail prices. And then obviously I have our ammunition, which is obviously government, it's a different vendor, obviously. You know, we don't purchase our ammunition from SIG. But when I say no more than 20, it could and most likely will be less than that.
Who's gonna be your instructors?
Well, we have 3 firearms instructors.
Who's going to the Red Dot Class?
It'll probably be Officer Law and Sergeant LaValle. And then they will come back. Each one of those classes are $1,100 for SIG to go to a 2-day class, actually a 3-day class. And SIG, basically, we have a good relationship with them. They're right over in Epping, and they are going to comp classes for us.
Is that gonna impact your, so you're thinking, how long to train each guy,
How long is what?
to train each officer?
8 to 16 hours, depends on how quickly they
So
do
a couple days.
It's 1 or 2 days. The instructor class for the officers, for the 2 officers going is 3.
Is there gonna be any impact on coverage with that training requirement?
We do our department shooting over Newmarket and stuff like that. We usually split because the range over there can't accommodate our whole department. So we split them up in an AM session and a PM session. But now since it's a full day, it's probably going to be 1 day, these offices, next day, these offices, and then get it done. It might take 4 days, you know, if certain offices take 16 hours to do. But there will be no coverage, issues with patrol.
I think it's a good use of funds that were earned for that purpose.
And we have, like I said, that money's there. That's where we purchase our cruisers. When we purchase a cruiser every 2 years, equipment, that's what it's there for.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I have
Okay, so make them,
your rep name.
Got a rep at SIG?
Yeah.
Okay.
in that case, I'll make a motion. We approve the expenditure of the funds for the Red Dot purchase and the ammunition purchase.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second thing, you want me to move on?
Yes, please.
Okay, that brings us to our detailed, I'm working on my 5th year now. So back in January of 22, the rate, obviously, you know, we have an officer rate, what the officer obtains. We have an administration fee that will pay for the benefits like retirement, Medicare, you know, FICA, stuff like that. And then we have a cruiser fee. If the cruiser's on the detail, then the vendor pays for wear and tear on the cruiser and fuel and stuff like that. So back in 2022, we raised the rate to be competitive with other departments. And then in 24, we did the same thing. So I'm looking to do the same thing in 26. So every 2 years, just with inflation and everything, I'm not looking to go up as much as we did for the first, 22 and 24, but I'm looking to increase the officer's rate from 70 to 75, which will keep us competitive. It won't bring us up to what some departments are, but it also keeps us right in the middle. We are going to be higher than some, but we are going to be lower than some others. And I do know that some other departments are going to be moving forward January 1st. With their detail rates. So I'm just trying to be competitive with those departments, and stay competitive, with other agencies that border us. I'm looking to do this obviously first pay period in January.
First pay
First
period.
pay period in January.
Yeah.
And once again, that's no cost through operating budget, taxation. That is strictly the officer is paid from that detailed revenue account. Then you actually make money off it because of the
Right.
vendor paying the admin fee and the cruiser fees.
And you're going to adjust the rate downward to be competitive. Yes.
No, we'll raise, well, the officer, our officer's gonna get more money per hour to
Oh, I see. Be
compete with the
competitive in
other
that.
departments.
But the hourly that you charge, let's say, utility will stay the same.
Well, no, it's gonna go up to $5 an hour.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're not gonna lose money,
Yeah.
basically whatever we pay for the administration fee, the cruiser fee and the officer fee, that's what the vendor will be billed for.
Gotcha.
And when we work for the celebration committee and the town, stuff like that, we don't charge the cruiser fee, we don't charge the admin fee, so stuff like that, so like nonprofit stuff like that. So this detailed fees that we go out, and that's what we bill the vendors that are nonprofit or town entities.
Okay.
I think it's a great way to make use of the resource that's being provided and not have the cost of inflation fall on the town or the department.
Great.
It should fall on the vendor.
And I don't like to do it every year, and obviously there's a survey that goes out to tell you what departments are charging, and stuff like that. So, that survey came in back this late in summer, this fall. And that's one of the things that was my goal to, move forward and, address this every other year, every 2 years.
Anything else?
That is it.
I'll make a motion. We, go with the fee bump for the detail fund.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah. One other thing I want you to touch briefly on, sir, is public safety.
Yes.
Committee, where you're at on that?
I think we mentioned that last meeting, we had last select board meeting, that our first meeting for the public safety meeting was last month, November 20th, 5:30 here. Our next meeting, which we posted next week, is going to be December 18th, which is next Thursday, 5:30. I believe that we're going to do a site walk with the fire station for committee members. And then we're going to transition back here to the town office for the regular meeting. There were some tasks that were put on each member's plate over since the last meeting. And basically this meeting is just going to be following up on what the members were working on to report back to the other committee members and to hopefully formulate a plan moving forward, since we're coming down to some crunch time on warrant articles. There were some discussions about potentially maybe doing a warrant article for design, which is a needed aspect of this to qualify us for federal government funding for grants. If you don't have a plan and you don't have your emergency operating plan up to date, then we're not going to qualify. So one, we're trying to get a design, and we're trying to update our emergency operating plan to basically fit the qualifications of the grants, just in case any grants come forward. That being said, everything's going a little bit slower now since the government shut down, delayed a lot of things, but that's why we're having another meeting next week.
Any questions on that?
No.
Anything from the audience? Anything else? I haven't heard back from Sue. This is it for the,
Tape total.
all right, so we have here the total of $14,575 worth of receipts that was expended against the town maintenance warrant article. And if we're going to reimburse that, I would think it would be a prudent thing to do to take those monies out of the 20,000 that we set aside, that was not taxpayer based, but came out of undesignated funds, and that we have those monies cover this expense here.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments?
Nope.
I'll make a motion that we remove $14,575 from the warrant article dealing with building maintenance, and use that to cover these expenses, thus reducing the impact on the budget. All in favor? Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so it's 3-zip. Along those lines, here I have this one really hurts. Legal expendable trust fund transfer. We have $34,932 worth of legal funds that are due, including $10,000 that were accumulated in the month of October due to the charitable trust unit and what, how shall we say, missed opportunities by the Conservation Commission back when they were dealing with us in 22 and 23 to meet the requirements of CTU help forth at the time and ordered us to have a subsequent meeting to deal with. Keisha, the amount in that account is 35,000, is that correct, in that one article?
Sure.
I believe it is. So I will make a motion that we expend, because the last, I'm going to wager, I think the last number I saw was 68,000 in legal expenses in response to issues at Bergen Family Farm. I don't have it in here.
And you're right, I'm sorry, it's 35,000, because I think we wrote the expenses.
Yeah.
To people just under that.
So there's 35,000 in that legal expendable trust fund. We have $34,932.25 worth of documented expenses. And I will make a motion that we remove those, transfer those monies from that trust fund to cover these legal expenses.
I can,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those are both passed, Kate. That covers on the agenda here. Anything else?
Yep, I caught up with Chief Young and collected email addresses to make sure that I had interested parties in the traffic safety, the original traffic safety concern. I would like to review the live stream meeting for every person who got up and spoke and make sure that for those, they either already are connected to Sue for getting town emails, or maybe reach out to them and ask if they would like to be. And then I would like to send out a response to everyone on the town list, but to make sure that people who showed up and actually had something to share about traffic safety, pedestrian safety concerns, all get the same message, that a voluntary group can be formed for specific agenda of increasing a positive culture, for education and campaigning about how to manage traffic safety concerns, highlighting, reporting incidents to the police department, not taking matters in one's own hands, the option of voluntary signage, and knocking on doors and talking with businesses to create a culture of slow it down in town, or let your delivery people know, to be extra careful, making sure that any issues concerning school bus safety, cars blowing past stop signs, the things that were shared and reported are the things that we want to be hearing about, and exactly who are the liaisons to connect with those people. So we don't have multiple people trying to do multiple things, but people who would like to take on a continued role, which includes myself as a resident. I would like to continue to be part of that, can continue to move forward. I already heard from the chief about adding potentially another speed sign, talking to the state about where that ought to be in the spot where there isn't one, and people might be thinking it's already 40 miles an hour. And then any other conversations about signage, certainly formal signage, would go through the police department if it's on a state road, and work with the state on that. But that would not necessarily be the work of this voluntary group. It would be the education campaign and a positive culture campaign, and to, get the people who are motivated and interested to continue to do that, to work on that.
Sounds good, Mark.
sounds great, sounds great.
Anything else on the agenda? Next week, on the 16th, I'd like to start chopping the budget. So we'll plan on, that'll be the primary focus for the next week. I will get that, I will email Win tonight, tell him that Key was the approved bid by the select board, so they can move forward in what they see as the proper path for dealing with that issue.
Do they need backup from the board in terms of making a request to the Friends, or would that be?
That's their.
Okay, that's just for them to do.
We're not
Okay.
even going.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify.
Anything from the audience?
It's the,
I need you to step up, please. Thank you.
Ribbon Heath Drive.
Thank you, sir.
Is the town select board plan on replenishing the trust funds that were expended tonight as part of warrant articles or in some other form for it? So there's $50,000 that was expended between the two. So that'd be your plan going forward.
Sure.
Is there,
We've been working on these warrant articles,
Yes.
budget over the next couple of weeks.
and are they, if you fill the building maintenance fund funded at $20,000, is that what you hope to optimally keep it at, or do you have expectations higher than that?
You've got two things we're working here with. We're still trying to figure out how we're gonna solve the crack the nut on the library HVAC system. And we did substantial maintenance on the building this year that was unforeseen and unforecast. And we had 20 in there, and I'm hoping the footprint is pretty solid, but maybe we drop that down to 10 with building maintenance.
Regarding the library HVAC system, it's one thing to appropriate money, it's another thing to have unanticipated revenue, whatever the title is for that.
Undesignated fund.
Designated funds, yeah. So I assume if you're going to go forward with the HVAC plan, you have to appropriate the funding, and then if you can get funding from outside sources to help it, that's great. But it's still, the full cost would be in the town budget. Is that correct?
Still massaging that, Jim.
Okay.
See how we can handle it. It's gonna get covered.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way to get it done. We're trying to mitigate. We're getting slammed from a number of sides here this year,
Yeah.
which seems to be the standard select board answer every budget season, but there is some truth to it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything else? I would like to go into a non-public based on RSA 91A3, Section 2, Item C. If there's nothing else, in that case, I'll take a motion to close the open session.
Second.
Favor? Thank you, folks. Mr. Mackey, I'll give you a call, sir. Okay.
Peter, Mark. Sorry for the rules, section, it was a 90.
It's going to be 91A:3, Section 2.
Do you like me to bring any of that? Or
Oh.
bring it later?
Anything else on here? Just the ones. Okay.
Leave unless they snuck it in.
Okay. I might stop in tomorrow. I got to register my car.
Thank you, Keisha.
Oops, I'm going to shut this.
Mhm.